Welcome to Storytime, where we take you on serene journeys that cradle you into tranquility. Tonight's story, The Book of Martha, is a gentle exploration of choice, dreams, and the quiet power of change. Close your eyes, let the words guide you, and prepare to drift into a peaceful slumber. Martha sat in her small apartment, her hands resting lightly on the surface of a wooden desk that had seen better days. Around her, the evening crept in quietly, soft hues of orange and lavender spilling through the sheer curtains. The world outside seemed to hum with the subdued rhythm of life winding down for the day. Yet inside, Martha's mind was far from quiet. She had always been a thinker, one who wrestled with questions far too big to answer. What made a life meaningful? How did one find balance between dreams and reality? And most pressing of all, could one person truly change the world? These thoughts spiraled as she ran her fingers over the spine of an old book she'd found at a flea market earlier that afternoon. Its cover was plain, a deep, worn leather that felt soft to the touch, with no title or markings. Yet when she had seen it sitting there among a pile of other forgotten tomes, she had felt an inexplicable pull, as though the book had been waiting for her. When she opened it, the pages were blank. Completely blank. Martha frowned. "Well, that's odd," she murmured, turning the pages slowly, as if expecting the words to appear. But they didn't. Instead, as the light of the setting sun bathed the room in gold, she felt a wave of drowsiness wash over her. Before she realized what was happening, she was no longer in her apartment. Martha found herself in a vast, boundless library. The walls seemed to stretch endlessly upward, filled with books of every size and color. The air smelled of parchment and something faintly sweet, like wildflowers. A warm, soothing light suffused the space, though no lamps or windows were visible. At the center of the library stood a simple wooden desk, much like her own, and behind it sat a figure, serene, ageless, and welcoming. The figure's features were neither distinctly male nor female, young nor old. Their presence radiated a calm so profound that Martha felt all her usual worries and doubts dissolve into the air. "Welcome, Martha," the figure said, their voice as gentle as a breeze. "Where am I?" Martha asked, though her voice sounded distant, as though she were speaking in a dream. "You are in the library of possibilities," the figure replied. "A place where choices are made and dreams take shape. And tonight, the book you hold has brought you here for a purpose." Martha looked down and realized she was still holding the blank book. "What kind of purpose?" she asked. The figure smiled faintly. "To write a new story, not just for yourself, but for the world." Martha blinked, trying to comprehend. The figure gestured for her to sit at the desk, and she obliged. As soon as she did, the blank pages of the book began to shimmer faintly, as though they were waiting for her touch. "You see," the figure began, "every so often, someone is given the chance to shape the collective dream of humanity. To nudge it gently, like a gardener tending to the roots of a sprawling tree. It is not a task to be taken lightly, but it is also not a task that must be done alone. All I ask is that you reflect on what matters most, what the world truly needs." Martha stared at the shimmering pages, her mind whirling. "You're saying I can change the world? Just by writing in this book?" "Not the world as it is," the figure clarified. "But the dreams that guide it. The hopes, the fears, the aspirations. They all begin here, in this library, in the stories that shape humanity's collective consciousness. What you write will echo in the hearts of billions." At first, the weight of the task felt overwhelming. How could she, a single person, decide what the world needed? But as she sat there, the calm of the library seeped into her being, and she began to think deeply, not about grand, sweeping changes, but about the small, quiet moments that made life meaningful. She thought of the laughter of children playing in the park, the warmth of a shared meal, the comfort of a kind word spoken at just the right time. She thought of the beauty in imperfection, the resilience of the human spirit, and the endless capacity for love and connection. Slowly, she picked up the pen that had appeared on the desk. Her hand hovered over the page, and then she began to write. She wrote about a world where people listened to one another, not just with their ears, but with their hearts. A world where differences were celebrated rather than feared, where kindness was a currency more valuable than gold. She wrote of simple joys, a stranger helping another without expecting anything in return, the shared wonder of a star-filled sky, the soft stillness of a morning untouched by noise or haste. And as she wrote, the library seemed to come alive. The books on the shelves glowed faintly, as if they were absorbing her words, her dreams, her vision. The air itself seemed to hum with quiet contentment. Hours, or perhaps moments, passed, though time in the library felt irrelevant. When Martha finally put down the pen, the book's pages were no longer blank. They were filled with her hopes, her dreams, and her belief in the quiet power of goodness. The figure smiled. "You have done well, Martha. The story you have written will ripple through the dreams of humanity, planting seeds of hope and compassion. It may not change the world overnight, but it will guide it toward a gentler path." Martha felt a deep sense of peace, as though she had fulfilled a purpose she hadn't even known she was searching for. The library began to fade, its light growing softer and softer until it was no more. When Martha opened her eyes, she was back in her apartment. The blank book still sat on her desk, but now its pages were filled with her words. Outside, the first stars of the evening were beginning to twinkle, and the world seemed a little quieter, a little calmer. Martha closed the book gently, her heart full of a quiet certainty. Sometimes, the most profound changes began with a simple story. Thank you for spending this evening with Storytime. The Book of Martha reminds us that even the smallest of dreams can ripple through the world, creating waves of hope and kindness. Sleep well, and may your own dreams be filled with light and possibility. Until next time, good night.
Thanks for your time. Please subscribe. Don't forget to press the bell icon for more.